Hi everyone, today I'm doing a review of the stockbroker Degiro, and I'm going to talk about today is Degiro a good platform for you to use for stock market investing. Now before I get onto the video guys, as always smash that like button and we'll take a look at the stockbroker Degiro. So Degiro is a stockbroker that has been around for a while now. It operates in the UK, where I think most of you guys will be watching this video from, as well as that it is also in Europe, a lot of European countries now, so it does operate in a lot of countries. Now first of all, the protection wise on Degiro, it is a regulated company. It also protects you to up to 20,000 euros in cash. Obviously the stocks that you own yourself, so if Degiro was ever to go bankrupt, you would still keep all of your stocks. That's a common mistake that I see, that people think they'll lose all the stocks if the stockbroker goes bust. But cash wise in your portfolio, if it's held in Degiro, you are protected up to 20,000 euros. So that is something a little bit positive. It isn't the most out there. It is a bit of a small amount, but still, if you're using Degiro, try and keep that amount of cash below 20,000 if possible. Now I think when people look at stockbrokers, the first thing they look for is how much are they charging for you to be placing trades. And Degiro prides itself on being a cheaper stockbroker compared to a lot of other stockbrokers out there. Is a very cheap stockbroker. These are now a few companies that are going into this industry that are offering a little bit of cheaper rates. For example, I know Revolt, Trading 212 and Free Trade are three companies that are cheaper than them, and also we have the potential of Robinhood coming to the UK. I'll kind of drop a few names in here for other stockbrokers for you to check out, but I'll also do my opinion overall of Degiro towards the end of the video. But the fees are quite cheap with Degiro compared to a lot of other companies like Barclays. And because of the lower fees, it gives you a lot more potential for your return, because if you're buying a stock and let's just say, for example, you made £10 on that stock, but then the fee for you to place that trade was £10, you would just make no profit at all. But with Degiro, the fees are quite low, which is really handy for you as an investor. Now, like I say, there is cheaper options out there, but as far as fees go, they are very cheap fees, so I'm sure you don't mind paying a couple of pence. I think the most you can pay is £1.75 for a certain stock market that you're going into. I've got them all up there, so you'll be able to have a look. But overall, I'll give the fees 8 out of 10 because they are pretty good. They're not free, but still, they're not going to make or break a trade that you do. So I'm going to give the 8 out of 10 for the fees. Now, the one thing that I really like with Degiro is the amount of stocks on Degiro. I think the amount of stocks on Degiro is fantastic. Every company that I've always wanted to buy on Degiro has always been on there. And that's one of the problems that I've had with a couple of other companies, especially a company like Free Trade, a stockbroker like Free Trade. Their stocks are really limited. Whereas I go on to Degiro, and especially as UK investors, a lot of stocks that you're looking for are on there as well. And a lot of other foreign markets that you might want to go into, a lot of them are on Degiro as well. So it gives you so many markets to go into, and for me, the amount of stocks that Degiro is offering is the best out there. So I give the amount of stocks that I've offered on Degiro 10 out of 10. Now the app wise is a little bit more difficult than some other ones, especially getting used to how to operate it, how to place the trades. It is not as slightly clean as other apps. At the same time, the app that you download from the App Store and the actual desktop program are quite easy to navigate and quite easy to use. Once you get used to it especially, you'll start to pick it up and how to get around it. The app is very useful to have because personally, I use all of my trades on my mobile phone, so having the app is fantastic. The only thing I'd like them to improve slightly with the app is the portfolio side of it as well. When you're going on Degiro, the portfolio side is slightly limited. All you can see is like how much your stocks are like up on the day, how much they're up since holding the positions, and also you get like how much your portfolio is up. But I'd like to see a bit more of a breakdown, a bit more of in depth, a bit more like if we could have a year-to-date return on the app, that would be amazing. But overall, the app is quite easy to use once you get used to it, and also having the app on the phone is quite good as well. So I'm going to give the app 8 out of 10. Now, the bank transfer is probably the most negative point with Degiro. The bank transfer does take a while to get into your account. So if you want to put some money in your account, it's going to take somewhere between 3 to 5 days, which is kind of frustrating because if a stock drops after earnings, you've got to have the money in your account already, because otherwise you won't be able to buy it. So that little negative of not having the money there straight away is kind of frustrating, because a lot of other apps now pretty much offer that money in your bank account either instantly or in the next 2 hours. So for Degiro to take that long, that's kind of frustrating. But to withdraw the cash as well, it takes 3 to 5 days, which is kind of normal because all kind of companies work like that. It takes 3 to 5 days to reach your bank account. That isn't as bad, but the kind of like the ability to be ready in case a stock drops and to put money in and buy it, you've kind of already got to be forward thinking and have that money in place. So that's a little bit of a negative as well, because you've got to just basically have money sitting in your account, which I don't really like to do that much personally. So for the bank transfer, I'm going to have to give that one 3 out of 10. Now there is some separate accounts that you can buy with Degiro, because I know people like to look and see if there's a way to do short selling, and you can, but you need to get a trader account. And also the ISA benefits as well. Can you have an ISA with Degiro? You can't have an ISA, so you won't get that tax benefit, and you're able to get an ISA with other companies like Free Trade and Trading 212. So that's a little bit negative as well with Degiro, but overall it is a pretty good platform to be using. So overall, my opinion with Degiro is it's a stockbroker that I really like and I would recommend using it. The only little bit of problem is the bank transfer for me, and also there's a slight little fee there, nothing bad, but with the major amount of stocks that are on there, I can basically go buy any stock that I want. So I still use Degiro for quite a few companies, especially companies that aren't on Trading 212. So I kind of split my usage between Trading 212 and Degiro because I still like the platform, and basically if it's not on Trading 212, I go to Degiro for it. So I still like the platform overall. There's a few things that could slightly improve, but like I say, I would recommend it to use as a stockbroker if you're looking for one to use if you're from the UK or Europe. So overall, that's my review on Degiro, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was useful for you and you got some information out of it. As always, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.